everyone. Welcome to episode 165 of Retro Encounter, RPG Fans Retro Podcast. I'm Hilary Andreff, and today we are going to be discussing 999, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, which is an adventure puzzle visual novel. It should be a lot of fun. So I'm going to introduce our panelists, and I've also, because of the nature of this game, I've taken the liberty of giving them code names, which I will reveal to them.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Nice.
First, we have Michael Sollosi, or Monsoon, which is a pretty obvious code name, but there you go.
It's true. The words come out of me brain like a monsoon. It's. do you know how I got that name?
No, how?
Many years ago, a friend of mine was creating all of his friends in Soul Calibur 4, including me, and he decided that I was going to be a flamboyant rainbow pirate named Monsoon Mike.
Oh, I like it. Okay, next we have Leona McCallum, aka Jade.
Ooh, Jade. I like that. Yeah, I'm almost going about Jade Cocoon too.
I was gonna say you're quite partial to cocoons made of jade.
Yes. I was like, why though? Is it Dragon Quest? No, it's my favorite game of all time, Jade Cocoon 2.
Yay!
Yay.
And
play it though.
Next we have Trent Argirov, aka Stranger.
Stranger.
Oh.
I saw that you're a Game of Thrones fan, so I figured one of the 7 would be a good choice. There
That's
you
a good pick. Yes, I am a Game of Thrones fan, and that is wonderful. I graciously accept that code name, and we'll live up to it. Live up to it as the podcast goes on.
I thought it was like a Stranger's Wrath reference, and you interpreted Trent as a, some sort of alien cowboy with a slingshot full of smaller aliens.
That also sounds
also radical. Would also take that reference as the namesake of my code name. That's amazing.
But also, is this your first time on a podcast, Trent?
No, it's my third time. I want to say E3, and then an upcoming podcast that we have for Retro Encounter about battle systems. But
That's correct. Yes. Trent, your first episode of Retro Encounter is 2 weeks from now, which I probably should have thought of ahead of time.
Timey-wimey.
The past, future times since.
Sort of new to retro, sort of not. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But speaking of pseudoscientific time travel, hey, what are we playing?
That's what this game is all about, yes. So I figured we would start by talking just a little bit of context, a little bit of the history of the game. So it is basically kind of a sci-fi sort of premise, and the idea is basically you're with 8 other people, there are 9 of you total, and you are placed mysteriously on a sinking ship and are forced to participate in a game called the Nonary game and escape through numbered doors to try and leave the ship before it sinks.
Correct.
And there's all sorts of sci-fi elements that tie into it eventually, and you learn that some of the characters are connected and everything comes together in pieces. And from what I've heard, this is my first time playing, it all ties together in a really interesting way. So there's that. It was first released in 2009 in Japan and 2010 in North America. It was a DS game. But I actually played the computer version on Steam, which was recently on sale. Did all of you play on the computer, or how'd you play?
I played on the PS4 version, yeah.
I think I'm the only one who played the DS version.
I played the DS version 9 years ago, but for this replay, I got the PS4 version and I'm playing it that way.
Okay, great.
9 years ago, how ominous.
Right?
Yeah, right.
It was when it came out in North America, so I guess it was 8 years ago. But
no, it was 9. For the sake of it.
Sorry.
For the sake of this joke.
I'll stick to the first story. I played it 9 years ago. That's when the incident happened. 9 years ago.
Yes. Everything is 9 in this podcast, and the digital root of this podcast number is 3, which means we can proceed.
Oh, you're saying I should have waited for episode 171?
Yes.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll bring out my calculator that they give you in the game.
Oh right, yeah. That's
gotta check the file notes on the digital root system.
Yeah.
Right. That is another interesting thing about this game. It really kind of hinges on, well, it's not random, but a mathematical principle called digital roots.
And I was worried when I first played this that I was going to need to know maths. And I was like, oh no, not that.
It's not in the math isn't insane in 999.
No.
I think the math gets crazier with each game.
Yeah.
Because by the third game, you're translating like an ancient civilization's pictographs into numbers and then matching them with phases of the moon.
Oh my
god! To have things, and then completing equations based on the phases of the moon in these pictographs. So it gets pretty wild. But
I'm having flashbacks about that right now.
but in 999, I think the most complicated thing you do is a Sudoku puzzle, maybe.
Maybe.
That's fair. And yes, just for a little bit of context, this is the first in a series of 3. 2 were released relatively close together, and then a third one came later.
Yes. The 999 started out as a standalone game, but then there was enough demand to make a sequel. The game's creator, whose name I forget, I apologize for that. Someone background.
Taro Ushikoshi?
Ushikoshi, that's him. Yeah. Uchikoshi intended to make the thing a trilogy, so So 999 is pretty standalone, and then Virtue's Last Reward and Zero Time Dilemma are basically a sequel duology. The funding was difficult for Zero Time Dilemma, so that one came a little bit later after VLR.
Yeah. More interestingly, these games are way more popular in the West than they are in Japan.
Yes. The interest in those second and third games was mostly because of the Western reception and not the Japanese reception.
Which is cool, I think. I really like that we sort of adopted this game series into us.
Yeah, I definitely dug the DS 999 to want more, and then when I got it, VLR is incredible, so I wouldn't object to playing that one for a sequel episode, guys, just saying.
I mean, definitely.
Based on what I've seen, yeah, same.
Absolutely. Would be on board for that as well.
So another interesting tidbit that maybe we can think about as we start to talk about the characters and the puzzles and then go through the plot is this idea that I read that the inspiration for this story is actually sort of the idea of where inspiration comes from. And that gets into the whole sort of like pseudoscience, collective intelligence kind of background that you see. Depending on which course you take, you'll see more or less of that.
It's a running theme toward like this the person who made this game. All of his games have that kind of feel to them, and this running thread through them that it's all like outsider looking in kind of thing. Because like Ever 17, I don't know if you played that. It's also the same writer who did that game, and that's also a fantastic game. But it also has a sort of force that is. Has anyone ever played Ever 17 here?
I have not played Ever 17.
No?
Oh, okay. No,
I actually just heard of it recently for the first time.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I don't want to spoil it then. It's very similar.
Maybe we should have had Rob Fenner show up on this episode.
Maybe. Someone would know what I'm talking about.
And Uchikoshi has... he's well known as a writer of these sort of storytelling games with a lot of unusual angles in science fiction. But this was, I think, his first game that really was a success worldwide. And later on, he did those 2 sequels that we mentioned briefly. He wrote part of one of the Steins Gate sequels, and Steins Gate seems like a kind of series that's up his alley. And currently, he is doing multiple projects with some other people in the Spike Chunsoft family. Including the guys that worked on Danganronpa. So if you're a Danganronpa fan and a 999 fan, which is 2 fan bases with I think significant crossover, we're gonna have a very interesting future ahead with those creators. Oh, and Hilary, I have one question for you.
Yes.
In this scenario, are you lacking a code name because we already all knew your name is Hilary, just like Junpei?
Yeah,
You're the Junpei.
I think that was a good explanation for it. Yeah.
All right, got it.
You didn't just forget to give yourself one.
No, I did not forget to give myself one.
No, Hilary's childhood friend accidentally revealed her name right at the beginning, so now she's just Hilary.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds about right for me. You all can't see it, but occasionally as we're discussing this, I'm getting the little floaty background and I'm thinking about what we're saying as we're talking about it and what I'm going to say next. Which is one of the things I love the most about Junpei, just kind of as a main character, those little like asides.
Oh, he's super sarcastic and funny. I love Junpei's inner monologue.
Yeah, and he's a little clumsy. He's definitely not an omniscient narrator.
No.
A lot of this is sort of happening to him, and he, depending on your responses, you can either be more accepting or more skeptical of all of the nonsense that characters explain to you. And I did this a little bit when I first played the game, and also a little bit in this week before the podcast. I looked up some of the pseudoscientific concepts to see how real they are.
Yeah.
And the idea of morphogenic fields is
that's
real.
a real thing. Yeah.
It's a real thing. The scientist Sheldrake, who proposed that, has written like 8 books on it. Basically, none of it is accepted. A lot of examples like the memory crystals and the television experiments were
the glycerin.
The glycerin thing or the television experiments were all either made up or exaggerations.
But
the Gigantic is a real boat.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
And it was a sister ship of the Titanic, but it sank in World War I. It's the largest boat that exists underwater right now, and there was a documentary where Jacques Cousteau explored it in the 70s. So,
oh wow,
cool.
So they didn't make up that part of it. Although I don't think that they had the Gigantic as the setting for human experimentation.
Well, you don't know that.
I don't. That's true.
I think they do a very clever thing when it comes to the pseudoscientific stuff and what's real and what isn't. Is at the very start of the game, or you're introduced that this is not the present day. This is the near future. It's like 2020, something like that. The year 2020, and so by making the game take place in that little bit ahead of the future, it has a bit of leeway in what they can say actually happened. Like, oh, it's just not happened to you yet, but 2 years from now, sure, all the glycerin in the world crystallizes.
And they take some roots in existing thought, like the morphogenic field thing is a real theory, and Ice Nine was something in a Kurt Vonnegut novel, and the Gigantic was a real boat.
That's great.
They take these inklings of truth and real theory and then just sort of spin them wildly out of control and then mash them all together in this unified 999 theory that is honestly more appealing than the truth in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
Which we're probably not going to see the full scope and implications of that until the next part of our podcast, because it builds and it takes a while to come together, which I think is really neat.
It's a lot of setup.
We've sort of set the stage a little bit, so how about going into characters? We haven't really introduced them, except for Junpei, a little bit.
Wait, how many characters are on the cover of this game?
Oh my god.
Is it 9?
It just might be.
I think it's 9.
It just might be 9.
I was actually going to say 8 because nobody cares about door 9 guy.
Yeah. And also speaking of doors, what's the digital root? What's the digital root of every set of doors you come across in this game?
Is it 9?
It's 9.
Oh my god!
Guess what? The number 9 shows up in a lot of dumb ways all the time. They let's see. Yeah, they have 81 seconds to get from the red to the dead.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
oh my god! It's all coming together.
Absolutely right.
and the sets of doors are 4 and 5, then 3, 7, and 8, then 1, 2, and 6, and then there's the 9 doors at the end
on
of
its
those.
own. Yep.
They sneak in 9 in silly ways over and over in this game in a way that is like remarkable with how dedicated they are to the concept.
Yeah, I did not pick up on that at all. Oh my goodness, my mind is being blown as we speak. I'm just thinking back to all of the choices that you're making. Yeah, a lot of 9s. Okay, that props to the writer, props to the localizers as well. That's absolutely rad.
The localizers really had a tough job with this game because it's a lot of puns as well.
Yes.
It's a lot of puns that are hard to translate, like numerical puns, but that you'll see one day.
Okay.
They had to get very clever with some of these because
very clever.
I don't know enough about Japanese, and I have not played this game in Japanese. I don't know this exactly for sure, but I believe you if you tell me some of the jokes make more sense in Japanese. It's like, you know what? Okay, I accept that. All right, but I'm playing it in English, but I'll take your word for it.
I noticed that strongly in the scene where they were deciding on their code names near the beginning. I was thinking about that, and I was like, wow, they probably had to come up with a whole new set of like objects and reasons, objects to associate with the numbers.
I think a few were, but I think a few are still the same. Like, I think obviously Lotus is, that's an 8-leaf flower. I think they kept that one.
And I think they kept Santa because because his name is a Japanese pun already.
Yeah, because San means 3.
Yep.
3, yeah.
I think Jun's was changed. I think she's a different one. I don't know what it was in Japanese, but I think she's a different pun.
But yeah, there's a lot of 9s and a lot of puns, and I don't know enough about this game's localization to be able to explain all of it. But they really had to be creative with this localization.
Yes,
I do 100% get that.
I do know that the Funya Rimpa joke is the localizer's work, and it wasn't in the original game, which is hilarious considering how popular and memeified it has been within the community. So much so that when the Nonary games came out for PC and Steam, they added that joke in the Japanese version.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if Hilary and Trent have seen the Funya Rimpa scene.
No, I have no idea.
No, you have not. Okay, so when you see Funya Rimpa, you pick Funya Rimpa, okay? You won't be disappointed.
I will absolutely do that in another playthrough. Okay.
Yeah, and maybe we should mention this. I think we talked about this a little bit before recording, but in the DS version of 999, you basically run through the game multiple times to unlock multiple endings, and if you unlock enough things, you'll eventually get to the true ending. But in later games, in VLR and ZTD, you basically, as you go through the plot, you open up new branches on a flowchart of plot events. The PS4 and PC versions of this game basically use that flowchart system for 999, and it's so much better. Oh boy.
It's handy. It's very handy.
I mean, the first time I played this game on DS, I think I went through it 4 or 5 times, and that means you have to play through the damn escape from your room in the Class 3 cabin 5 times.
Oh my gosh!
Right, you do, but it gets easier every time.
Yeah, and you do after you beat the game once, you're allowed to fast forward through any scene that you've already read before, and that helps.
Yeah, that's good.
And that helps a lot, but still, it didn't make finding the red folder and the blue folder and whatnot any more fun.
Oh my gosh, in the kettle. Oh my god, I didn't check in the kettle.
Yeah.
I had issues finding the second note, so no joke. I was
the picture?
Yeah, the second picture with the second set of triangular symbols. So I was trying to work with one for about an hour and a half, and I was like turning the note around. I was like, okay, well there's an arrow, so maybe it means read it this way for the red one and opposite for the blue one. I tried so many different things.
So it was either the one in the kettle or the drawer on the bottom that doesn't look like a drawer, like a door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had to be one of those things. But it's the way that you navigate around the room is less than ideal a lot of the time. So like I remember in one one later puzzle, there's a bathroom that you can go into, and I didn't, and it took me most of my time in the puzzle to realize, I can, if I click this area one more time, I go into the bathroom. Just because of the weird way the camera was placed on the corner. So like sometimes the game works against you a little bit when you're navigating around these puzzle rooms that you have to escape.
Another thing to mention, just especially about that first puzzle room, is it's a really kind of intense beginning. Like I was almost thinking that I was going to be timed because you've got like water spilling into the room. And it's so strange to think that they're all 9 contestants in the games are all having that same experience with like the room slowly flooding and having to get out.
I'm just like got a picture in my head of like the water looking at its watch saying, she's still stuck on that damn suitcase. we have to wait, guys. Don't flood yet.
And I remember the very first time I played this game, Junpei is the last person to escape the third class cabin, and then he meets the other 8 people on the stairwell, and that just made me think, oh, great, I'm last. That means I'm the dumbest.
They all come from like upstairs as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Like,
they've already been exploring the other 4
Yeah.
floors of the main
Like,
room.
Yeah, so they moved,
While I was just like trying to find out if there was a third way to open the kettle to get another clue.
I was just trying to find the bathroom, guys. Sorry. So actually, that's a perfect opportunity to maybe introduce the other characters that Junpei bumps into on the staircase. So do we want to go numerically, or do we want to do favorites first?
Numerically.
Numerically?
I'd say numerically.
And when your favorite comes up, please bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish I could remember some of the things that Junpei like labels them as before he knows their code names.
Ace is lion.
And 7 is mountain.
Yes.
Right.
Mountain, yeah.
Oh, and Lotus is dancer.
Yes. Snake is prince. Santa is silver.
Like before they introduce themselves and you use these names, when I was playing it this time, I'm like, oh, I don't remember this. Did they change the name for the PS4 version? What's going on?
Yeah.
But it was like, no.
Code names before
there's a scene where everyone picks a code name. Okay, now I remember.
Yep. So everybody's got at least 3 names. But first we have Ace, who is also known as Lion.
Interesting man.
Very interesting
man. Very. No, you go ahead. No, please go.
Very, very well spoken, mild mannered. Not elderly. I'd say he's 50, about that.
Yeah,
I think he's the oldest.
Yeah, he's definitely the oldest. I mean, maybe Lotus would slap you if you said otherwise.
Oh yeah, they get into a few scuffles in the game over those various things, don't they? Yeah, Mountain and Lotus. Yeah, Ace seems to me, I mean, I haven't gotten to a point where he's divulged anything, but he seems to be too calm for the situation that's happening. And I'm like, and every single time he says something, I'm like, you know something more than you're letting on. I don't know what it is, but every single time he's like, yes. We should check all the other hallways. Maybe it's an organization. Maybe Zero is what's the word? On the ship with us. I'm like, you have something. Something, and what is going on with you? He's the one that pings on the most for me as to shifty behavior, just by his own non-committal and placid nature.
And also shifty, he gives himself a dose of a sleeping agent just to force just to force the rest of the group into a decision. It's like, now you have to go without me because I'm falling.
Passing out. I thought that was much darker than it was originally going to be. I thought he was just like leaving himself behind, and then you go like 20 minutes later, go past a couple of escape rooms, come back, and he's like, oh, no, it's all good. And I'm like, I thought that was going to be full of dramatic tension. Like I thought he was just like sacrificing himself for the betterment of the group.
He drugged himself with a little bit too much nonchalance.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Like,
I need a nap. I'm old.
that was a great line, but also like
That reminds me of a very old George Carlin joke where he said, "I love being old because now all I have to do is say I'm tired, and people will help me leave a room."
That's one of many debates and scuffles about how to proceed and how to get through.
Absolutely.
The number of doors, and that's probably one of the most dramatic ways one of those is solved that I saw in my playthrough.
The one that's maybe just as dramatic is, I think, I'm struggling to remember. I think it is the middle doors, the ones in the hospital room, where nobody wants to go through door number 3. But if you, as the player character, decide I need to go through door number 3, then Junpei will basically just seize 2 other characters and race through the room and leave everyone else behind. He's super rude about it.
It's a trick, basically. He tricks everyone. Yeah. He tricks everyone into going into a room that they don't want to be in.
It's basically the most villainous that Junpei is the entire game.
Oh yeah, he has like an evil smirk and everything.
But it doesn't even really fit in with his
personality,
with his tone of personality. Yeah, people can get kind of devious in this game. Even the player character with manipulating how you go through the different rooms. And I agree. Ace is one of the more suspicious characters, but I mean, Leona. Beyond that, no comment.
No comment. Yeah, no comment.
Of he's suspicious due to his lack of shifty behavior and trying to.
Yeah, he's so calm.
So reasonable. I will say this about Ace. He decided to sit on the floor in a room full of about 50 beds. When he took that drug, he decided he'd rather sleep on the floor than like a bed that there was plenty of. That's all we need to say about Ace, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. So next we have Snake, who's my favorite.
Snake is great. Snake!
I have a love-hate relationship with this character. I think he's perfectly acted, but boy howdy, me personally, I don't like him. What's the word? As a person, he is someone that with a personality type that makes me frustrated. There's this sense of arrogance that permeates his entire being, and I'm like, oh, you're a great character.
Whenever you join him in a puzzle room, he is so condescending.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel differently because I never joined him in a puzzle room.
But I don't think he's in that many because he does disappear in the middle of the game, which is not really a spoiler because all of us have been through that part of the game.
It's a mandatory part.
Yeah, it is. But so I think he's with you in one of the
casino.
in the casino side where it's the first class cabin in the casino. So he's definitely with you for that, and he's super condescending.
Oh yeah.
Again, I don't want to comment on on the second half of the story regarding Snake, but he is a cool personality and cool look, and the fact that he's getting around blind, is that's a baller move. He doesn't need his sister to help him with everything.
And then he essentially labels himself as Daredevil in a sense of being like, I using my auditory abilities, I have the ability to be able to fight super well. I'm like, interesting.
It's like,
really? I wonder if that's going to come up later. Let's put that under foreshadowing, with two brackets. Foreshadowing, he's an interesting character to say the least.
All he needs is a sword, and he's basically Zatoichi.
Oh my goodness,
There we go. Yeah, some of the random comments he made in my playthrough kind of implied that he could approach Daredevil levels. And so actually, one of the things I thought was kind of cool was when everybody's kind of comparing what happened to them near the beginning of the game.
Yes.
Snake got extra information in Braille, conveniently, specifically because he's not cited Zero, the mastermind behind these games, who's sort of in the shadows.
Is that in every path you learn that? I'm trying to remember.
It's in the main path, yeah.
Oh, it's the main path. Okay, yeah.
It's just after the ninth man dies.
Yeah, I had to unlock the six endings individually, or so I had to do 5 runs since 2 of the endings are connected.
Yeah.
But so I might be a little bit iffy on what you learn in each path. It's so I really hope I don't make a mistake, so I don't spoil anything for Trent or Hilary. But I'm sorry for Hilary or Stranger, but him getting a secret message in Braille is something that's a little bit weird to predict.
And the frustrating and interesting thing is I'm not entirely sure he needs that extra information. He's definitely, at least in my playthrough, one of the characters I was like, you know what's going on.
You could have made all that up.
It's possible.
Oh, no, this paper with holes is really just nonsense. I just pretended it was Braille because you guys wouldn't know the difference.
That plays into some assumptions that I have about some characters and the idea of withholding information. And I'm like, everyone knows. I'm like, I don't know if
this is not really a spoiler. This is not really a spoiler, but basically everyone's withholding something in this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
Everyone has a secret that they're keeping, at least one.
Yeah.
The one thing to add about Snake is that he and Clover are siblings, according to them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Very non-alike looking siblings.
Yeah.
Do you have a suspicion, Trent, that you wish to share?
I don't doubt their siblinghood personally, because I think they do care for each other. That's
clear, absolutely. They probably adopted siblings, I want to say. That's my suspicion, but there's obviously something there that I'm personally not getting as to their relationship and how they correlate to each other and why they're there, honestly, because if they're siblings together, they're one of the only other people that has a direct link to each other, like Akane, June, and Junpei. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's interesting.
Jade, I think this is another no comment moment for you and I.
Gag me!
Is it? Oh, I couldn't tell.
I'm making my hair.
Okay, so interesting things to come with that aspect.
Implications, yeah.
Yes. All right. Are we ready to move on to Santa?
Yes.
Sure. My favorite.
Okay.
My favorite.
Oh, all right.
Santa.
We got another favorite.
Yes.
Yay.
I love Santa. He's kind of a dick. He's kind of. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't swear.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, you'll allow that one.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because it's Santa and it's true. But I don't know. I like his attitude, especially in throughout the game. It really grows on me, and he has some real moments. And I think if you've played the scene in the engine room, is that the one? No, the furnace room. The one in the hull of the ship. You have a real touching moment with him. It really sort of brings his character. You get some likability from him.
I think that's the engine room, and you do the warehouse right after that one. If you're on if you're on that path. Right.
Yes, where he has a picture of, and he talks about his sister who's dead. It's quite sad.
I think that's door 6 in the last choice. I think.
Oh yeah, I missed that.
Right. That's a moment.
And he also hates anything with the number 4, which is interesting considering we have a 4 number in the game.
I thought they did that because 4 is considered a very unlucky number in some Asian cultures, including China, because it sounds like the word for death.
But when you first play this game, you're like, is it Clover? Does he hate Clover?
No, that is kind of a suspicion, because in the path I took, he had a bookmark with a 4-leaf clover, and I think he explicitly says he doesn't like 4 because of that homophone bad luck. But then he also says a bunch of stuff about not really believing in 4-leaf clovers and luck, so I don't know.
He's an extremely bleak person. He's like, I hate the idea of hope and luck. It's like, oh, okay, buddy.
Yeah, faith, love, and luck. Yeah. Leaf words.
It's like, oh man, I guess this game has pseudo-botany as well as pseudo-physics in it.
Yeah.
Layers upon layers of layers.
Oh no, they're making me find the digital root of chemistry formulas. Awesome.
Oh my god, yes.
Not my favorite puzzle in the game, having to remember high school chemistry.
It's rough, yeah.
It was the one that took me the longest besides the cargo room, I will say. It took me a while.
Oh, we can get into puzzle rooms later, but
we can get puzzle rooms.
Speaking of 4 things, how about we talk about Clover next?
Clover, yep.
Yes.
So
anyone's favorite?
So she's one of the younger characters.
Yeah, she's
but not as young as you think, though.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how young she is.
She's 18 in this game.
Okay.
Is she?
Yeah, she doesn't seem 18,
really?
does she? Yeah.
And the digital root of 18
16.
is 9!
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Boom!
Mind blown.
But she's not my favorite character, but I think she's a positive presence most of the time. When Snake disappears, and she sort of slowly convinces herself that he may have died because no one's able to find him. She becomes quite sullen if you're paired with her in the last scene of Doors.
Yeah,
that was my playthrough. Yeah.
That was also my playthrough, at least for a little bit. I saw she was with Mountain, I think, in the operating room, and the interplay between her sullenness and her vivaciousness, I guess, it was a really interesting juxtaposition that I thought was a bit true to life.
And
if you're faced with grief,
she's swinging back and forth there.
Yeah. Speaking of swinging, Jade. Oh boy. That was unintentional. That was unintentional, but I did walk into that. Is it okay if I spoil one of the bad endings for you guys?
That's the ending I got.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Where you really see the outcome
there's an ending called the axe ending. It's called the axe ending because when you unlock it, the little icon you get is of an axe. It's basically if you do a couple paths, but one of the choices you make is choosing door 1 at the third juncture.
Yeah.
Basically, Clover comes to the conclusion that I think it's 7 and Santa.
Yes.
Yeah. That 7 and Santa killed her brother because that's the only number combination that would have them go through door number 3. And she picks up an axe that's in one of the rooms behind the one door.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and then and she murders everyone in the boat.
Yep.
It's unclear if she gets to Ace or Lotus because they're in a different room when you find out what Clover's done. But she at least kills Junpei, Santa, and
7
and 7 and the ending is Junpei slowly losing consciousness because he's been killed with an axe to the back of the head.
Yeah, she's like, let's leave together. I have all these bracelets, and you're like, okay, I'll take your hand, and then wham, an axe in the neck.
Yep.
Oh.
So that's
I have
the
all
axe
these
ending.
bracelets. That's it. Okay, so we didn't explain the bracelets.
We haven't explained the format of this experiment either.
Actual structure and threat that's beside it, yeah.
Okay, so before we get to the 5 bracelets, should we go into what this experiment is and what this game is?
Should we finish the characters first?
Yeah, we should finish the
finish characters, and then we'll explain what they're doing.
All right, well, yeah, I guess explaining character number 9 will go directly into what the consequences of this game are.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so next we have 5 is Junpei, who did in fact spoil his true name. So he's just Junpei. He's the protagonist. Yeah.
I like Junpei a lot. As a protagonist, I really like him.
Yeah, he's realistic. He acts. I mean, you control him, like pseudo control him as the person making the choices, but he has like a really kind of realistic and pragmatic reality about the situation, and he doesn't. He keeps his head together, which I think is nice. Yeah. He keeps. He's quite sensible, which is it's good for a protagonist, I think, in that sort of situation to be like that. Yeah. I like him. He's one of my favorites. Yeah, should preface that, but yeah, he's one of my favorites.
None of his options ever felt, at least in this particular run, felt off the wall. You know what I mean? Like, there seemed to be kind of a solid reasoning, like exactly what you said. He actually kind of has a good head on his shoulders in a really terrifying situation. So, and he is another character who's related to the next character we're going to discuss, and that's exactly how his code name gets spoiled, because he sees the person with the number 6 bracelet, and they have a moment where they recognize each other and they're placing each other. Yeah, does she call him by his nickname, or does she actually use his name?
No,
Junpei, and then she says Junpei later.
Yeah,
She uses both.
I think she says both. That's correct.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. They're childhood friends who have not seen each other in a very long time, and there's near the beginning there's a lot of questions around, like, well, this couldn't be an accident, us being trapped on this boat, because like we know each other, and some of us seem to be connected. And
they knew each other when they were 9! Oh, again!
Oh my goodness. Whoa.
This game just keeps...
Man, I didn't pick any of these up. Man, that's... Oh. That's great. Oh my goodness.
You're going to be seeing 9 everywhere now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is worse than playing a latent game and seeing puzzles and everyday things. Junpei and Akane, aka June, are childhood friends. June is very attached to Junpei. Oh man.
Right away. Yeah.
She's dropping signals, and he is so dense.
She's dropping anvils.
Yeah.
And he is like, woo.
He's like, man, where are these anvils coming from?
Yeah.
There's one incredibly awkward scene where they discuss the elevator.
The elevator scene.
Yeah. It's before the third juncture. They're discussing. They find an elevator that goes deep, and they're concerned that it might, be part of the flooded section of the ship from the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, I think if you pick the right or wrong dialogue option, depending
I can't stop laughing at it.
Yeah, depending on your point of view. There is a very, very salacious set of misunderstood puns about the word "wet" that are, oh boy,
Yes.
oh
Wow,
boy.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Maybe I would have to take off the PG label on this podcast to really get into that line of dialogue. But it's something, let me tell you.
There's actually a similar one that pops up randomly in the freezer if you are doing the kitchen puzzles, where like if you examine the like extremely frozen slab of chicken enough times, June will say something about it being really hard, and that's that set of misunderstandings around that word. So there you go.
There's also a lot in the third class cabin when you can share a shower together, or you can select a bed, and June will start blushing. So June's very eager. I'll say that.
She has an interest in Junpei.
Yes.
But otherwise she's she's not stupid, but she's a little bit meek, maybe.
A little bit of conspiracy theorist as well.
Yeah, no, she has a lot of thoughts on what is it, morphogenetic fields.
Yes,
and
mummies and Ice Nine.
Yeah.
And glycerin and astrological symbols. She is the one who knows all of them.
What book is Ice Nine from? I keep forgetting.
Cat's Cradle.
Cat's Cradle. I knew it was a Vonnegut novel. I couldn't remember which one.
Yeah.
The only one I finished is Slaughterhouse 5, and I knew it wasn't that. But
and so it goes.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, June. This is a little unfair, but I think her defining trait is her connection to Junpei.
I'd say her other one is just she's really idealistic, and she refuses. At least the path I took, she refuses to let anyone get left behind,
right.
And
she's very
to some extent, the other characters start to expect that, and some of the other characters start to factor that into their decisions.
Yeah, that June's going to make a fuss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She also is prone to hot flashes, fainting spells.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she said she has a fever at one point, and then it goes away. Yeah.
I have a theory about her illness that I absolutely cannot discuss right now.
Oh no, you can't. Okay. You have to talk about it next time.
Because my foreshadowing like radar is like, she's doing that at like certain points in the story. And I get that it's a fairly tense circumstance, but what's going on with that? Everything I'm just pointing a finger at, going like, that's a pattern. That's a pattern.
You're suspicious. Yeah. You're suspicious. Everyone's suspicious. Killer.
Yeah, we're like the Oprah of detectives. You're a suspect, and you're a suspect, and you're a red herring.
But yeah, no, it's an interesting kind of set of circumstances. Her getting those fevers in various rooms as you go through. Whether that's something else will be, I guess, determined later on.
We only got one in the path that I took, so that's interesting. And that was the second class, or no, that was right before the second class cabin. And in the second class cabin, Junpei asked, "Are you better?" And yeah,
she has one immediately after she sees the ninth man's body.
Yep.
Yeah. Next on the list, I think, is Mountain.
Yep.
Big boy.
AKA 7.
AKA 7.
One of the less creative codename choices.
I am 7 because my number is 7. Travel.
All right.
How do we feel about 7?
He's interesting. I mean, all of them are interesting in their own individual ways, but his amnesia is a fascinating plot point that he starts to remember things as the story goes on, and those things are specifically helpful to the circumstance at hand. And then there's me going like,
again.
I say that happened like 30 to 40 times during my playthrough, and I just go, I'm gonna get that eventually, but you have amnesia. You're the only one with amnesia at the moment, and you don't look like someone who you look like a dock worker or something that is in a blue collar profession. So that's
an interesting profession that you just named there, by the way.
But yeah, he's an interesting character. Quite crass, actually, a lot of the time, I felt.
He's very gruff, very blunt. He clashes with Lotus all the time. Which makes me think, well, okay, either they're both jerks or they're secretly in love. I'm about 50-50 on this.
Oh, they're definitely secretly in love. It's 100% in my eyes.
All right, got it. I don't know. I could go either way, but the I don't mind Seven. He also has an unusual interest in history. I think he's the guy who suggests that the boat is the Gigantic, which is not exactly something that shows up on your AP history exam. He's usually a positive presence in the different puzzle rooms. Like he's helpful. He makes suggestions. He's not a jerk to Junpei, but he's definitely a jerk to Lotus a lot.
Yeah,
Junpei's a jerk to Lotus sometimes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've established that Junpei's personality might be schizophrenic, depending on the player responses.
Right.
Yeah.
The part where you see that, was it the Mercury symbol, and he says that's Lotus because it's the female symbol with horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does not take that well.
Jumping on the Lotus hate train, Junpei. Yeah, and he's also I think close to the time he's talking about the Gigantic, he's also pretty helpful with the chemistry puzzle. He seems to be kind of knowledgeable in that regard.
Yeah, which is highly suspicious for someone who has amnesia that's managing to pull out specific knowledge helpful to the circumstance at the time. This is ridiculous. I want to get to the bottom of it.
Everyone on a baseline in this game is just a bit smarter than I am in all levels.
Absolutely, I feel the same way.
June breaks out the sublimation point of ice, and to the the degree it happens, and you make a bomb out of it in the freezer. Mm-hmm. It's
yep.
I didn't get that in my playthrough. That's awesome.
That's in the kitchen, and you use a CO2 bomb with dry ice to escape a door, which is something that
wild.
I could not MacGyver my way out of that situation.
No, I would have died there.
Yeah, it's
well, I guess we are frozen now.
That's also something that never really quite got resolved, because when you're in the freezer, it shuts on you, and Lotus is on the other side of the door.
And she just gives up. She's not really trying. Yeah. She's like, well, if they die, they die.
She's like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. I'm going to check my nails. It's not my problem.
She does have that nail checking pose that may have been the exact pose she was in during her response.
Probably.
Yes. Are we talking about Lotus now? Is that
sure.
Segue into Lotus?
Lotuses have 8 petals, and that's why she's the eighth bracelet. And she's my favorite character because she's just she is so mean and smart, but also
I love how smart she is.
But also hiding all of it. The ending that I got on my first run was the submarine ending. That's the only ending where you get a lot of info out of Lotus, which is weird to me because one of our Twitter followers mentioned this when I announced that we were doing 999 for the podcast, that the sub ending being optional is crazy because it's the only one that gives you a lot of Lotus backstory.
Aww.
And again, if you go through certain pathways, you realize that she used to work at a security company. She is a brilliant programmer, and she had twin daughters as a teenager.
Wow.
And also she begins the tradition of at least one character in each game in this series not knowing how to wear a shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's Lotus, then Alice, then Mira. 3 women who do not know how to wear shirts properly. So
no.
But anyway, so I think Lotus is really fun. I wish I had more puzzle rooms with her as a companion, which is a little silly because she's already in several of them. And I always liked having her around, and I am still a little baffled that the only way you get sort of the end point of her character is in the sub ending, which is one of the optional bad endings.
Yeah, it does give you a little incentive to play these bad endings, though. I suppose you do. they're not completely pointless.
Yeah,
you know?
the knife ending is a little bit empty because everything you learn in the knife ending happens in a different ending. The sub ending has a lot of good information, but it also has a bit of a grisly ending. The axe ending,
the coffin ending is the most pointless.
Yeah, the coffin ending is the most pointless because the coffin ending is what you get if you do the true ending path but don't have the true ending conditions filled. Then the game just ends at the coffin.
Yeah, it just says to be continued.
And the axe ending. The axe ending doesn't give you a lot of insight, but at least it's brutal and terrifying.
Oh yeah.
So that's what's fun about that one.
When I first played the game, the axe ending is actually the first ending I ever got.
Oh
and
my God.
I was not expecting it to go there, but it did make me like really want to play. I'm like, why is everyone a crazy murderer? Like, I thought we were friends, Clover.
Yeah. Clover is not your friend. Clover is only your friend if you are an axe.
or you are Snake.
I was
you're
about to say
Snake,
maybe Snake.
Or you are Snake, or Snake likes you. Yeah. The last character though is the one that doesn't really get a name. I put question mark.
I think they refer to him. Yeah, they refer to him as the Ninth Man.
The Ninth Man.
He's on the cover of the box, and he is dead in 45 minutes.
What you do see of the Ninth Man, you get a little personality from him. You see, he seems like a very jittery person. Or I don't know if it's just a situation that he doesn't like the situation that he's in, but he's
He doesn't say anything. He just sort of stares.
He blinked at
Yeah, but he
you.
stutters a lot in his words when he does talk. When he pulls the butter knife on Clover, he stutters quite a bit.
That's not a butter knife. That's a real knife.
It's a butter knife. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the knife in the knife ending that kills everybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
What? Well, maybe he came back from the dead and stabbed someone else.
No comment.
So many zany theories of where I think it's gonna go. Yeah.
Was there any knives in the kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yes, you sharpen. You
There's a rusty knife, and you.
you de-rust and you sharpen it. And
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Could be that
one. I'm pretty sure it's that knife because of stuff that happens in other endings that we shall not discuss tonight. Jade.
Interesting.
Okay, Monsoon.
Glad the code names are working out.
I definitely forgot to use them for the first 20 minutes of the podcast, but now they are how I will refer to all of you forever.
Okay.
I'm a stranger to this story, honestly.
So just to explain a little bit about this Ninth Man, he stops and blinks at you on the staircase, and after Zero makes his actually this is a good time to pause and say you get an announcement after you meet the Ninth Man. On the staircase, you get an announcement from Zero, who is the other character, quote in quotes, worth talking about. The organizer of the games, explaining the rules about the numbered doors, how there are certain designated pathways through the ship that you can take, or at least Zero heavily implies that, and the only real way to proceed and potentially find a way off the ship before it sinks in 9 hours are these numbered doors that have little technological contraptions called the Ret and the Dead attached to them. You have to, and there are rules about using them, and you have to use them with the numbered bracelets that are on all 9 people's wrists that they can't get off.
Okay, before we continue, I insist there are no cowboy puns when we're discussing these Reds and Deads. Understood?
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeehaw.
I will say that the most realistic Red and Deads I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is the only Red and Dead we're going to talk about in this podcast.
That's fair. We can get it out of our system now. So you have to use the bracelets.
Howdy, ma'am. All right.
So you have to use a combination of bracelets that equals the digital route of the door you want to go through, and there are rules about the number of people: no fewer than 3, no more than 5. Everyone who scans in has to go in and find the dead within 81 seconds and scan there. If not, then the bracelets will cause anyone in there to explode, basically, because they're explosive bracelets that no one can remove. And they can be removed, but I think the person's pulse has to be.
Yes, or you pass through the number 9 door.
Or you pass through the number 9 door. So Zero explains all this, and the Ninth Man promptly, as we briefly mentioned, takes Clover hostage and gets the appropriate people to open one of the doors, goes through himself, and meets a grisly end.
Yes, because he didn't have the full rules at his disposal.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone lied to him, he says. He lied to me.
Yeah, he does not take the circumstances immediately before his death very well.
No.
Yeah, there's an implication there that he knows more than what's going on. I mean, the implication is that everyone knows more than what's going on, but him specifically seems to know that at least in some aspect, who or what Zero is, essentially. That's what I'm getting at from that particular.
Does he feel that he's tied to Zero, or maybe he had instructions?
Yeah, to serve as an example for what could happen if you don't follow the rules. Maybe.
His death is very gruesome. When you open that door, you get the most vivid description of a mangled corpse.
and also in the behind the number 3 door in the shower room puzzle, there's another mangled corpse that is that is also pretty gruesome. They don't really shy away from depictions of mangled corpses in this game.
Are we going to say who that corpse is? Because I know some, but I don't. These two guys played that.
No, I got to that corpse on my ending. Absolutely.
So you know who that is.
That corpse is wearing Snake's jacket. So
yes,
it's everyone's pretty sure it's Snake.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no comment.
I may have made Junpei a little bit more skeptical about that fact.
Yeah.
Or you're just holding out hope that your hero Snake is still out there somewhere.
Maybe. I have to. I don't know. If I don't, Clover will.
I want to believe.
Yes. I was going to say earlier, this is definitely a trust no one X-Files scenario. So
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I don't want Clover to lose hope because then she'll murder everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a very fair position, and I understand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because let me tell you, that axe ending it's something.
It's spooky. It's very spooky.
Yeah, it really goes to show the pressure cooker kind of situation that they're in, and how it changes the personalities of these people in the 3 to 5 hours that you play with them, drastically based on who they are. Yeah, it's fascinating. From what you're saying about Clover versus, I got the knife ending, so I don't know anything. I have many questions and no actual answers to it. But seeing people just devolve into baser versions of themselves is always a fascinating thing to see.
Yeah. And we've been through the structure of the game. The way to. And I think I told both Hilary and Stranger this privately, but the way to see all of the info in this game is to get the safe ending, which is one of the bad endings, and then go to a certain path to the true ending, because you need to know things in the safe ending in order to reach the true ending. And we will not discuss those endings here. That is definitely for the second episode. But I think the plan for all of us was to go through and just get one ending going through doors willy-nilly, and then for the second episode, after you get one ending, which I got the sub-ending the first time, then unlock the other two. But like a doofus, I just got hooked and unlocked every single ending. So I am ready to talk about this game next week, 2 weeks, next year, whenever.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really need to pick up this game again. I do have the entire script memorized from playing it so much.
Oh my! Oh god! No, I needed to play. I needed to play again to remember everything, because again, it's been 8 years, but I'm going to lie and say it's 9 years. But I did need to play it again to remember everything. But now that I've played it, it's vivid. This game sticks with you. Premise is really exciting. There's a lot of dread, a lot of cool lore, and how about like the sound effects, like the ship, like the ship creaking, and the sound of everyone running upstairs.
Those running sounds are.
And the really tense music in a lot of the puzzle rooms.
Yeah. I think one of my favorites is the dramatic when a puzzle. It's the dramatic. You can do this in the background, but the dramatic, like, seek a way out when a puzzle starts. and then like, yeah, and then the relaxing.
That was more Law and Order.
Maybe I'm a Foley artist on Law and Order. You don't know.
These are their stories.
There we go.
Dick Wolf.
But then the sound effect when you do finish a puzzle is like the one really nice, relaxing, soothing one. It's like you found it.
You get a nice, you get a nice, really meaty sound of a door opening, depending on what kind of door it is. Whether it's like a big metal one or a wooden one, it's like a nice big loud creak, and then the sort of the victory sound. It feels great. It's a good reward.
Yes, I was found this. You found it very patronizing. Like if I spent 2 hours in this puzzle room, and then it goes, "Oh, you found it! Well done, you! You're like, super."
It's like you've hidden a dog treat under a flower pot, and then when the puppy you're training finally gets it, you found it!
Oh my god!
Good dog! Good dog!
Did it.
You found the briefcase again. So proud.
So what I'm hearing is that this game, you can sort of like tell who's easily irked in terms of finding things patronizing.
Yes.
No, I didn't find it. I mean, okay, look, the number one reason for me playing this game is how exciting the story is and how it all ties together in the end beautifully. But then second place is solving 16 puzzles, so I get 16. You found it.
So, sorry, Monsoon's like, I will take all your medals, thank you. Any congratulations for me? That's good, yeah.
Yeah, oh, please.
I feel accomplished now. All right, so that's a good segue into puzzles. So we already discussed the first puzzle, which was escaping the third class cabin. And that was basically really, it was kind of a tutorial puzzle to teach you about the digital root system a little bit, get you used to the inventory navigation and the room navigation, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, the room navigation sometimes works against you, and it
really does.
Unless you really figure out how to find magic pixels, that first puzzle can take a while.
Yeah.
It looks like the curtain that covers the mirror. It just looks like a wall to me.
Yep.
And I was like, why would I click the wall?
Yeah, and I think in some cases the graphics work against you a little bit too, because I wasn't thinking there was a mirror behind that curtain. I didn't know what was there. I just eventually noticed that you could click on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a while, if a puzzle is stymieing me a little bit, I just have to sort of figure out to click on everything. Like there was oh shoot, in the laboratory puzzle, I needed to find a plug attachment, and basically to get that plug attachment, you have to go into the window where the area where Clover's in, and just click everything until she finds a plug in that room. It's like, this is not communicated very well.
It's either click everything or combine everything. It's time to combine all my items and in random ways and see what works.
Click everything until there's nothing to click, then combine everything until there's nothing to combine, then go back to clicking.
Of course, combine this bag of ice with this frozen meat. Of course, that means something and will create crushed ice.
Well,
and eventually you will have to add numbers together, and then you will be at the door.
Yep. Well, that meat was obviously super frozen, and
okay, don't read me. I solved the briefcase puzzle really quick. I'll have you know.
I'm sure much faster than me. But that's sort of that brings me to the point that, in terms of like giving hints and giving decent amounts of information when you go to randomly combine things or look at them, investigate them in your inventory, by like point and click adventure standards, you get some good hints and a good amount of information.
Yeah. If you fail a puzzle, like especially if it's a one of the number or mathy things, or like look at something and then sort of back out of the window, then whoever's with you will comment on the puzzle and what it means. If you do that a couple times in a row, they'll give you a good amount of hints. The game, I don't think the game ever plays unfair with the puzzle content, but sometimes it's annoying. Like you just don't realize that a certain element or certain texture is something that can be clicked on.
Right, and that you're missing something as a result. Yeah. Oh, and those hints usually come in the format of, well, maybe we could find some sort of object that would do X.
Oh man, in the shower room, there's I think 4 toilets that you can check, and each toilet has something hidden in it, but in a different part of the toilet. It's like, oh, this one I need the toilet paper roll. This one there's something in the tank. This one I need to flush the toilet to read something that's on the middle of it. It's like which toilet is which? Like I thought I was done cleaning toilets.
Yeah, if we're going sequentially, I think next are like the second class cabin rooms, and one of the.
Well, it depends.
Yeah, one door is the lounge in the second class cabin, and one door is the first class cabin in the casino.
Yes.
Okay, right.
You can either go with Snake and 7 to go through the casino. It's Snake 7.
I think it's Snake and 7, and that's it. And the other door is Akane. I think it's
Lotus is there.
I think Santa and Lotus.
And Santa. Yep.
Yeah. It's I will not be able to remember the exact combination of people in every room except for some of the ones related to endings.
Yeah. Well, I was in the one with June and Lotus and Santa, and I thought that was just really cool the way they constructed it, because you had 2 rooms that were basically kind of mirrored each other, and all 3 of them kind of contributed, and it was, you eventually had to kind of map a picture in one room. There was a picture in one room and you had to replicate it in the other, but there was a lot of like finding pieces, and
between rooms you were sort of switching partners as well, like who was following you around, and that was quite cool.
Yeah, all these places are tightly designed. Like in the kitchen puzzle, if you're on one side of the kitchen, Lotus is sort of your partner, and if you're on the other side, it's Santa and June, and when you're locked in the freezer, it's just you, Santa, and or is it? I'm sorry, you 7 in June. Well, I forget, but
no, 7 isn't in the kitchen. I don't.
Santa is in the freezer.
Okay, yeah. So it's Santa, June, and Junpei in the freezer, but and also in the laboratory. I think I mentioned this before, but Clover accidentally gets locked in another room, and you have to like you're with Lotus on the unlocked side, and sometimes you have to go to Clover and have her pass you things through the bars of the locked door to solve puzzles in the other room. So all of these puzzle rooms, they feel tightly designed, and they fit neatly together most of the time. I really like them. There's 16 in this game and also 16 in VLR, but VLR is a much longer game because there's just so much more story and dialogue to wade through. But in 999. The puzzles feel brisk and fun, and you get that nice a little endorphin rush when you hear that, when you see that door open.
Let's see. I think we're missing the operating. Yeah, the operating room puzzle was one that I particularly liked.
Clover and 7. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the operating room puzzle. It was satisfying once you finally figured out the actual pattern of events. Finding numerically adding values to kind of unlock a safe to get a piece of a person or a little doll to click it together, and then you have to change the pieces of said John and Jane. I assume Doe. Just like to kind of get the stat values. It was a very involved but thoroughly entertaining and enjoyable escape room. It was good.
Yeah,
good fun.
It was interesting in that you had the overarching puzzle of putting the dummies together, the operating dummies, but to get to the pieces, of course, half of them are in color-coded locked lockers.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, absolutely.
And you had to add different solutions to. Yeah. And read, probably with some sort of spectrometer, like read the color to open the little locker with that color label on it.
I think it was a mass spectrometer because it had a laser refracting through it. It had to be, right?
Yeah, no, it absolutely did. Yeah, there was puzzle within a puzzle, which I think is a lot of what those escape rooms, I guess, as you're saying, do well, in that they layer themselves perfectly together. In my opinion, most of the time, like 99% of the puzzles were great, but I guess it was maybe my own intelligence. The cargo hold one was the one that I had the most trouble with.
Cargo hold is
with the little push bot puzzle at the end.
Yes, the hexadecimal and it's like three puzzles, one after another, all with different kind of parameters as to solve them, and I was like, oh man,
collecting the ID cards is like the easy part, but then
absolutely,
but then there's a weird hexadecimal thing which is introduced in some puzzles earlier, and also have you reading things in hex.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the kitchen.
and I didn't
Yeah.
get any of that, so I was like, "What is hexadecimal? What is this?" Okay, yeah.
And
And
then
so
the pushing puzzle, which really felt like it was from a Layton game because there's so much pushing and sliding in those. But
yeah,
and that one was a little challenging. I agree. The one that I sort of dislike the most is the holding cell puzzle. Wait, no. I'm sorry. Right after the holding cell room is the torture room, and I hate the final torture room puzzle because it's basically just you have to look at a computer screen of someone who is attached to a device that looks like an electric chair and fiddle with switches, but the switches, affect things on other screens. It's a little complicated to explain.
Hello?
No, so it's just a lot of, okay, I'll hit this switch and then I'll click 2 screens over. How does it affect this? Okay, it didn't do that. So it's just a lot of real dumb trial and error that I did not like. So if you guys haven't done the torture room puzzle yet, or maybe it's called the interrogation room, I forget. It's not a blast.
no, I have not. Yeah.
It sounds very ominous, though, doesn't it? The torture
Yeah,
room.
really?
It's not
Why
that
would that
it's not
be
that ominous, and it has Lotus in it, so I should like it. But it's I don't know that whole puzzle is like maybe just check the solution online for that one.
Okay. Yeah, torture room just displays right from its get-go a sense of dread or something ominous in nature, and I'm like, why would they have a torture room?
Yeah,
On a
characters are
replica?
definitely. Yeah, the characters are definitely creeped out by the torture room, but okay, spoiler alert: the torture room they don't actually get tortured; they just have to creep themselves out.
Okay,
It's hard to know if these are the names of the rooms or the names the characters have given to the rooms. Because we don't necessarily know if this was a room used for torture, but it certainly looks like it.
Scheme is kind of throughout the whole game because some of them are easy to guess, but some of them there is that little room of, well, is that just what they're calling it?
Yeah.
So the rooms even have code names. I see.
Some of them.
So many layers in this puzzle. Just so
And
much,
the number of rooms? 9. No.
There's 16 puzzle rooms and plus one final puzzle, and so that makes 17. And plus there's the puzzle of what's the secret of the story, and that's 18. And the digital root of 18 is 9!
I was with you right up until that very end part.
I was really hoping that the digital root would end up 9 much earlier, and then I had to maybe fudge. I maybe had to fudge
absolutely.
my data a little bit to get the answer I wanted, just like a good scientist.
But they're all really, really succinct and well designed. I had quite a lot of fun just working my way through them. They're quite good.
If anything, I hate to look to the future a little bit, but I think some of the VLR and ZTD puzzles are a little overlong. So going back to these where they all feel much brisker was nice. It's like, this is sort of faster and easier than I remember because I played the newer ones more recently. So it's I like the pace and length of all these puzzles, and 16 is a good number.
Yeah, I agree, and that also makes it very good and accessible for people who maybe are trying to get into this type of game, not puzzle game people, but want to do the story. Like, don't let the puzzles just detract because they're doable and they're interesting. And I don't think I've tried to do them completely without a walkthrough, and I think I only consulted a couple times when there was an issue with like me not being able to find an item or pixel related.
I did all of them without looking up the solutions except for the freaking torture room because I was just sick of that computer screen puzzle. I just did not want to deal with it anymore. But
when I first played it, the game was so new, there was no walkthroughs for it anyway. And it was the same with VLR. I got that game within hours of it coming out, so there was no game facts you could check or anything anyway.
I did beat VLR and ZTD without puzzles, but I had I had notebook pages for that thing. I had to make charts. For the cafeteria or food room, I forget, or the storage food area in VLR.
Yeah, the pantry.
The pantry. That was it. I had to make a spreadsheet on my computer to add the different foods together.
The symbol room, where you have to decipher like that language. That I had a notebook filled of like notes. Okay, the duck means this, and the circle with the duck means this.
Yeah, I had a Word document, an Excel document, and at least 4 or 5 pages in the notebook just for VLR.
You've got this. You've got this to look forward to, guys.
I was going to say that. That makes me very happy that was not the case this time.
No.
Yeah. This one is more like what was it? Click combine, then do some arithmetic, and then you open the door.
Yeah.
It's a perfect pace. I think it's great. Yeah. What about favorite moments within what we've covered thus far? For me, I want to say the moments where all of the cast is together are probably like watershed moments for everyone's personalities kind of coming into like conceptualization and kind of like juxtaposing against each other, because I saw it as this kind of every single person is written in such a way that it makes it forces them to be in conflict with at least 2 to 3 other people in the group, personality-wise, and seeing all of those people together kind of in the hospital room, as well as the first time that you meet everyone and kind of get, just before the ninth man goes through the door, it's kind of this introduction to these people that if this were any other circumstance, these people would, I don't think, besides maybe Junpei and June and Clover and Snake, though I'm a little iffy on the second one, that they wouldn't get along just in general. And it's just this pressure cooker of a situation where, like, in real life, if you have the time to kind of have these relationships lengthen in a tooth, they would not get along. But we kind of see that come to a head when they kind of get together. Those are kind of my favorite moments in the story, where like everyone kind of is just like arguing and talking amongst each other, and people are trying to peacekeep and people are trying to be logical and brutal about it, and it's fascinating for me. It's my favorite moments.
Yeah, you really see a lot of personalities at work. I think like the situations where you're in the big hospital room, like that's where you see, because you see Lotus, she's like, okay, who are we going to sacrifice? I've got ideas. And like, the bit where Lotus is like, Clover's very despondent at the time, and Lotus completely changes her personality to be very syrupy sweet, and she's like, we could find Snake if we just follow what I say. And then Clover's like, oh, okay, I guess. And then Lotus is like, great, let's move on.
That was a moment for me in the notebook where I was like, Lotus is a bad person. like just an underscore of like, I understand you're being individualistic and brutal, but man, that is a bad thing to do, just in general.
Either bad or practical to a fault.
To a fault, like realistic about the situation. Oh, it was that moment was chilling.
I think she's more practical than evil, and maybe a few other characters are more evil than practical, but
interesting.
When you see the safe ending and the true ending, you get an idea for the personality of every character. But for Lotus and maybe also for Seven, the sub ending helps a little bit because you don't really get much. You don't get as much development from either of them if you do the true ending without the sub ending. I really got to stop talking, because otherwise I will either inevitably spoil something or start talking about VLR again.
I'm guessing one of your favorite moments is in the latter half of the story. I'm guessing.
I will say that when you learn about there's a moment in the sub ending, which is optional again, where Seven and Lotus both reveal a part of their pasts, because Seven partially remembers some amnesia, and Lotus starts talking about her children. And because she had 2 daughters very young, she tells Junpei and Seven, and then they realize that Seven and Lotus realize they have something in common, and that moment of realization is an audible gasp if that's the first ending that you see.
Oh,
yeah, and it's not that they love each other. Jade. Whatever, Jade. Whatever.
Let me ship.
You're literally on a ship.
On a ship. Let me ship in the ship.
But the ship is sinking.
I ship the Gigantic and the Titanic, okay?
But they're sister ships. That's incest.
It's Japanese, it's fine.
All right. Any other favorite moments that don't involve shipping?
Shipping the iceberg with the Titanic has a wrecker
Oh, that is not canon.
Sorry, Hilary, you were saying something.
No. I was going to say, are there any other favorite moments? I have to agree. I think that whole sequence of everyone first coming together, finding each other, that's a really good example of this sort of like accelerated interpersonal relations that's so interesting about this game, because it's just a really fast process of them trying to get to know each other enough to try and figure out how to solve this problem, and they don't exactly agree on how to proceed. And like Lotus doesn't even want to play Zero's game and go through the numbered doors at first, but you see their initial reactions and you see them kind of start to try to figure out how to work through this together. And I think the characters are realistically kind of not thinking so far ahead at that point, so it hasn't quite dawned on all of them that like sacrifices may be necessary, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that gives it room to kind of develop, and you see that realization.
Honestly, they waste about an hour and a half just doing nothing at the very start of the game. They waste a lot of the time just because they cannot organize themselves.
Yeah,
it's very human that way.
90 minutes of those 9 hours go by because they're trying to figure out whether they're going to go through the first set of numbered doors at all.
Yeah.
And the root of 90 minutes is 9.
Oh my god. Okay. I can talk about some of my favorite moments. I've got it's hard to. I like the bits in the game where the game is unexpectedly funny. Like the Funya Rimpa part when it's part of like the dog puzzle, the puzzle in the second class cabin. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And one of the dialogue options you can say is that's a Funya Rimpa, and Lotus will say, "What the hell is a Funya Rimpa?" And Jimpy will be like, "You don't know about the Funya Rimpa? Apologize to the Funya Rimpa." It's just like this made up word. But and also obviously we talked about the elevator scene that's not appropriate for this podcast. But I think apart from funny moments, I think I like the pseudoscience a lot. I like this, and this isn't pseudoscience as much as like a thought experiment, but when you're in the room with Jane and John, the mannequins, and you talk to Clover, she'll tell you a bit about the ship of Thesis or Lock Socks and these sort of like thought experiments
thought experiments and paradoxes and just bits of philosophy to accompany the pseudoscience.
Yeah, I just love those moments. There's a few of them. Obviously, Ice 9 is another one. It's just it adds to this atmosphere of the game. Like you don't even know what's real anymore. You're talking about magical ice that never melts. You're talking about pseudoscience. You're talking about telepathy and all this while murder may be happening and people are blowing up and the ship is sinking and you've got 9 hours and it's this whole tense situation. I just love it.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it's an interesting way to sort of make sense of things, and it does go a little bit into kind of ways to explain the connections between everyone and what's going on, and just kind of seeing how various people are thinking about the situation.
Yeah. Did you guys do the scene where you pick out like a number of a lot to pick which rooms you're going to go into?
Yeah, that's the if you go through I think door 1 or door 2 in the last juncture.
I like that scene. It's very like Junpei being his devious self again.
Tricky.
Yeah.
He has these flashes of just
he has an edge to him sometimes.
Right. That's an example of him basically arranging things so that he can go through the door he wants.
Yeah, and only one character really sees through him.
I'm trying to remember. It was Ace, right?
Yeah, it was Ace. Yeah.
It's Ace if you go through door number 1. He sees you, or maybe also door number 2 because he's with you in both the engine room and the captain's quarters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think he only does it in room number 1.
Okay, yeah, which is the map room and captain's quarters. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, nobody on that ship is, or at least in my opinion, nobody in that ship is inherently good. What's the word? At least from what I've seen. Maybe the closest is June with her idealism, but no one is inherently a good person.
Hey, Clover is a sweetheart until she murders everyone in one ending.
See, I would have said Clover if I hadn't have heard that was how that ending went, because I'm like, oh man, okay, that's what happens when you snap, when you're thrust into that situation.
To be fair with Clover, there's endings where you get murdered multiple times. It just so happens that the axe ending is the only one who actually shows the murderer of that particular scene. So there's more murderers roaming around than you think.
Absolutely, everyone's not the greatest of people.
Yeah,
at least from what I can see.
I think you see Clover's dead body in the knife ending, so it's not her going about shoving people.
Yeah, in the knife ending and the sub ending, you see almost everyone's dead body. But if you go to multiple endings, you realize that you realize that one of the persons that was down in the next room was only pretending to be dead.
One of these is not like the other.
Yeah, so if you see enough endings, you realize who did all the killing in the knife and sub endings. But so yeah. But that is not a discussion for this episode.
No, next episode.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Right now things are a little bit like the end of the Clue movie, and we'll wait to find out what really happened.
It was.
How about this?
It was a red herring for
communism. Was just a red herring.
Communism was just a red herring. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Madeline Kahn and Eileen Brennan, whom I both love.
Flames on the side of my face.
All right, we've covered a bunch of puzzles and mystery references and conspiracy theories so far.
Clue does have a knife ending.
It's true.
Astoundingly.
It sure does.
So we ready for some housekeeping?
Yes.
Okay. So next on Retro, the games are going to continue with more 999 because we need to discuss pulling everything together. And we also have upcoming episodes. One's going to be about RPG combat, and our year in review episode is also going to be coming up.
Yeah,
and
we've already recorded the RPG combat episode, which is technically Trent's debut.
Yeah,
but it's coming.
Morphogenetic fields, all that. Yeah,
but it's coming
Absolutely.
2 weeks after his third podcast episode. So so numbers are meaningless unless they add up to 9.
Absolutely, that's what we've deduced and decided as a result of this podcast.
And we also have Kingdom Hearts as the game journal for January. There'll be 2 episodes on that.
It's gonna be.
And that's been.
It's gonna be interesting.
I think that's been.
Tune in. Yeah.
I think people have been waiting for that one, so yes.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts won a poll that we held following episode 150. So that episode was in August or December, and so we made the call for Kingdom Hearts to be a future episode in late September, and it is finally happening in January, is when those episodes will post. I have not started playing Kingdom Hearts yet because I love myself, but I'll build up enough self-hatred to get back into that game later this month.
Okay. Well, I can't wait for these episodes to come out.
Yeah.
Peter is going to host them because there's no way I'd be able to host it with a straight face.
No.
That's fair.
But I did pledge to be on them if Kingdom Hearts ever became a game journal, and it has happened.
You thought the day would never come, but here it is.
The prophesied time has arrived.
That's truer than you realize. Both of those.
But in the meantime, please, we like feedback, so reach out to us, Twitter, Facebook, on Discord, Instagram. You can also email. Don't forget to review as well.
retro@rpgfan.com is the
Thank
email.
you. I was just going to...
I usually read it.
I was just going to add that. Thank you. And don't forget to review on iTunes, Google Play, or other podcast listening venues. And let's go around and just say where to get in touch with everyone, starting with Sollosi.
Who?
That's Monsoon, actually, I think you're saying.
Oh, you're referring to me. I don't know this Sollosi who you speak.
Right.
If you want to reach me, the easiest way to do so is probably Twitter. I am at @TheRealMonsoon most of the time, and at EvokerForDogs part of the time. I am also Monsoon Mike on Discord, and Monsoon on the RPG fan forums.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be inconsistent because I don't have a code name. Okay, next, Jade.
Okay, you can find me at StarMongoose on Twitter, and also come join us on the RPG Fan Discord server, where I am also StarMongoose.
Yay. All right, How about you, stranger?
I'm Arkodo17 on Twitter, ARKODO17, and I think I'm on the Discord, but as me, which is my name, Trent Argirov. I haven't actually been on there, but I hear it's a very good time from a bunch of people.
Who lied to you? Who lied to you about that? It's nothing but a terrible time.
You should go there if you want to talk about RPGs and other things. Yeah, it's a good time. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
We probably should just rename the whole website rpgsandotherthings.com. See, Zelda counts as and other things.
Yeah, you can stop writing in. We know
it's
not technically, or it is.
You can stop with the not an RPG Facebook comments, guys.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we're called RPG Fan. If we cover it, that means it's an RPG. It's just how it works. I didn't make
correct.
Is that how that works? All right.
I don't know if that's prescriptivist or descriptivist, but whichever fits my opinion right now is what we are.
Yeah. I mean, we made 999 one of the top 30 RPGs of all time, so it's on the Wikipedia page for 999 that we named this one of the greatest RPGs of all time.
Oh, we did?
Did we?
Yeah.
Did we?
Jade,
I mean, that's fitting. It's really good.
Jade, did you add that 5 minutes ago?
Maybe. No, I'm not allowed to edit Wikipedia anymore, not since the incident.
The incident 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Wait, guys, there are 9 letters in Wikipedia.
Oh no!
It's all around us.
We're losing Monsoon. We're losing him.
Well,
where did this axe come from?
He's staring at the digital root abyss, and it's staring back at him.
Well, this game has certainly been an experience, and it's fitting since we have spoken of it so highly that we're finally doing a game drill on it.
Yeah, it's been great fun.
It's good
I'll
fun
play
so
this
far.
game as many times as you need. I'll play 999 forever.
Maybe not necessary. I think 2 episodes is okay for now.
I mean, if you insist.
Oh, but remember, sequel game journal VLR will get back onto some of the same concepts. I assume that 999 touches on maybe at another point in time.
Yeah. If Hilary and Stranger are up to it, then I think we could do an episode on VLR. It would probably be a solo episode, and it'd be in a few months. But I'm not against it. What say you, Jade?
Oh,
I mean, I like it. I mean, not having to hold my water about all the mysteries if it's a single episode sounds great. But yeah, I'll definitely talk VLR. Get the group back together. Yeah.
I would kind of like to get a platinum trophy on the Nonary Games collection. So
yes.
Yeah, right. Sounds pretty all right.
That's the ultimate. You found it.
They are very easy to get the trophies on because you just really have to complete them.
Yeah, I have the platinum trophy on the Vita version, which is where I first played VLR, because it's basically just do all the puzzles and see all the endings.
Yeah,
and you're good.
All right. Well, I'm just going to wrap up quickly by saying thanks for listening, and you can find me EP Fire on Discord. This is the easiest way. I hope you enjoyed.